Welcome back, Phil 301. Dr. K here. I hope you all are doing well. In our last video, we looked at three arguments that Ghazali made for the incorporeality of the heart or the true self. In this video, we're going to look at his account of the four competing elements inside every human being, namely a pig, a wolf, a Satan or devil, and an angel. We can think of what Ghazali is offering in the discussion that follows is a kind of practical psychology. That's to say, an account of the competing forces inside of human beings, which helps to explain why they do the things that they do or have the traits that they have, and how these forces must be ordered in order for the human being to have a life well lived. Let's begin our discussion by characterizing some of the dominant traits that Ghazali suggests each of these four elements manifest or exhibit. The pig, he says, loves eating and drinking and copulating or having sex. It's the good time, pleasure, party-seeking element, right? What it's after is comfort and pleasure. Have a look at these pictures here now. We have some delicious cake, a hot pepperoni pizza, and it looks like a vegan dish on the right with some quinoa and some peppers and other yummy vegetables. All these look good to me, and if they look good to you and you find yourself wanting some food, well, that's the pig in you, right? And think back to some time, for example, where you wanted an extra piece of cake or slice of pizza or maybe another beer or another glass of wine, and you knew in your heart that you shouldn't, but you just couldn't help yourself and you had it anyway. The pig was not only there, but the pig was ruling the show in instances like that, right? It's that urge or drive towards satiation, towards eating, drinking, and sex. Now, I'm not going to have any sex pictures up there to illustrate these points. I'm sure you guys can find those if you want to, but not in our class. Though, if for whatever reason you do find yourself observing such pictures or looking at an actual person and enjoying what you see, then you may want to pay attention inward to the feelings or drives that you're having, because once again, that would be the pig in you. All right, so having characterized Ghazali's account of the pig, let's now turn to what he says about the wolf. The wolf, Ghazali says, is the force or element in us that loves beating, killing, and verbal and physical violence, right? So wolves kill things with their mouth. They literally rip their prey apart and chew them to pieces. The wolf in us is what compels us towards violence and destruction, whether it's physical violence through the use of our body or through our mouths in the sense of the words that we use, the tone with which we use them, and the volume as well. A kind of PG example of the wolf in action might be a scenario where, say, you have a paper to write, you can't get the ideas, you get frustrated with it, so you crumple up the piece of paper, break the pencil, throw the clipboard across the room, and just say, screw it all. A PG-13 example of the wolf in action in a human being might be illustrated in this clip, which shows Marine Corps drill instructors interacting with a recruit.
Why did we not go through my course? He had a headache. Sit down, sir. Why are you talking so slow to me like you think I'm going to buy all this freaking dramatic crap? You better start sounding off with some freaking volume, short, sharp, and fast right freaking now. And hold your fucking head up before I freaking hurt you. You understand that?
Now, if you find yourself not enjoying that or recoiling from that, that's because in that instance in which you watched it, the wolf was not dominant. If it were, it would love that. That is what the wolf loves. It's violence, whether it's physical or verbal. And that is what it compels a human being to engage in. Another good example of the wolf operative in a human being comes from the episode that happened at the spring 2022 Oscars, where actor Will Smith slaps comedian Chris Rock and then shout some verbal directives at him. Now, I'd show that clip, but I'm almost certain I'd get a copyright claim against me. So you should check it out on your own if you're so inclined. All right, so having discussed and exemplified Ghazali's account of the wolf, now let's turn to what he says about the Satan or devil inside every human being. Now, Ghazali says about the satanic force in human beings that it loves deceit and discord. So I would think Ghazali would take this to manifest itself in two ways in a human being. The first would be by compelling the human being, him or herself, to be deceptive and cause discord or disorder in the world outside him. You might think, for example, of a person, which I know many of us have encountered, which seem to revel in lies and spreading rumors and watching the chaos and the divisiveness that ensues from that. And another way Ghazali would seem to take the satanic force as being operative in a human being is causing deception and discord in that human being itself. It, for example, would be the voice inside when you know you shouldn't have another piece of cake that says, oh, go ahead. You deserve that other piece of cake. It's not going to hurt you. Go ahead. Don't be a prude. Have one more shot or just one more beer. It'll make you feel good, my friend. Right? That voice says these things, knowing full well that after you have it, you're going to feel sick. You're going to be thrown off the next day, and it's generally going to be unhealthy for you. Or in the case when someone makes a joke that's not intended to be malicious, but is intended to be lighthearted, the satanic force may manifest itself as the voice inside that says, did you hear what he said? He meant to offend you. He's out to make fun of you, and hence stoking up anger and violence in you. Or discord more generally, which may also then spill over to the external world outside of you. So many times I think the satanic force operates in conjunction with the pig and the wolf. It tries to stoke them up and make them take center stage and drive what the human being does. Why? Well, because that creates discord in the human being, and then that human being then creates discord in the external world, and that is what the satanic force loves. Creepy stuff, huh? But listen, Ghazali says this is a force inside all human beings. He even took it to be inside the Prophet Muhammad. So if he's right, then we need to be aware of this force, so we know how to tame it and counteract it. Now, Ghazali writes of this a little more in On Knowing Yourself and God and elsewhere throughout his body of works. And also, I think an excellent resource on this, which Ghazali, of course, was not aware of because it came after him, but I think he would approve of, is C.S. Lewis's depiction of how the demonic forces work in his book, The Screwtape Letters. All right, so the work consists of a series of letters between Wormwood, who is a minor demon attempting to wreak havoc within a family, and his uncle Screwtape, who is a demon of high ranking and is in charge of Wormwood. I think this work, in conjunction with what Ghazali says, gives one a fuller picture of how forces which love deceit and discord may be at work within a human being. So check it out if you're interested or want to pursue your studies in this area further. One last thing I think we should say about the satanic element is that I doubt it's this guy, right? Why? Because that's way too obvious. So when you're on the lookout for it in yourself or in others, you're not looking out for something like this. Remember, as Ghazali characterizes it, it's a force that loves deceit. So the force isn't going to appear or sound or come off as something that looks like it's going to be harmful to you. Rather, it's going to come off as someone who's innocuous or doesn't look harmful, as someone who's on your side or has their best interests in mind, maybe a little charm, or maybe even enigmatic or mysterious, as the person in the picture, which I choose to represent, the force looks. All right, no doubt he looks creepy too, but it's not as egregious as this guy, right? It's going to be a little more subtle than that. All right, so having talked about what Ghazali takes to be the satanic force inside every human being, let's now turn to what he says about the angel or the angelic force inside every human being. It's the force inside you that wants to know and wants to learn and wants to be good and virtuous and excellent and to serve and to know God. Right? It's the voice of reason in you. It's the voice that truly does have your well-being in mind. It's the voice that when you want that other piece of cake says you shouldn't do that. You're not going to feel good after that. It's not going to aid your health. It's the voice when you think someone has offended you says, hold up, wait, we're not sure that it has. Maybe we should think about it a little more before we react. Right? It's the force that says, rather than be an instrument of violence or of gluttony or of lies, we should be serving truth and knowledge and goodness and virtue and trying to manifest these qualities in ourselves and to spread them more in the world. That is what we should do. Know and serve God, know and serve the truth, know and serve goodness and order rather than disorder. That's your duty as a human being. This is what the angel preaches and attempts to compel you to do. In many ways, I think we can conceive of the angel as the opposite or the antithesis of the satanic force or element. All right, Philosophy 301. So in this video, we've considered Ghazali's account of the 4 competing elements within a human being. The pig that loves eating, drinking, and copulating. A wolf that loves killing and verbal and physical violence. The Satan that loves deceit and discord. And the angel that loves knowledge and morality. Before we go, I want to highlight a few more claims that Ghazali makes about these elements or forces themselves, and also about their relation to you. All right, the first claim he makes is that a properly ordered human being is one in which the heart aligns itself with the angelic element, subdues the Satan, and disciplines the pig and wolf so that they neither rise nor sit except at the angel's command. Right? So Ghazali thinks you're healthy psychologically when you've aligned with the angel. That's to say, you make what you are pursuing knowledge, goodness, and say God, and you subdue that drive or desire in you for discord and deceit, and you also master the desire for violence and for bodily pleasures such as food, drink, and sex. The second claim that he makes is that the pig and the wolf should not be killed off, right? The point he is making is that they should be disciplined and trained and used wisely. And for them to be used wisely is for them to be under the command of the angel, the lover of knowledge and wisdom and virtue. They have times when they need to be let out. Look, sometimes you may need to defend your family, and you know what would be good to be operating in you in that moment? It would be the wolf. And also, Ghazali thinks it's a good thing if the human race perpetuates, right? And to do that, we need to eat, and we need to drink, and we also need to have sex. So you need the pig for good ends, like the continuing of the human species. The point is that they shouldn't lead the show. They should not be allowed to run rampant. What needs to happen is that they are under the control of the heart that is aligned with the angel, the lover of knowledge and goodness. And the heart that is aligned and listens to that angel will let them out at the right time, in the right place, to the right extent, and in a manner virtuous and in service of goodness and truth. The third claim is that a properly ordered human being will obtain good traits and the seeds of spiritual happiness. Further, an improperly ordered one or a disordered one will obtain bad traits and the seeds of wretchedness. All right, guys, that's all for now. I want you to think about what Ghazali has said here. I want you to kind of pay attention inwardly to the forces that are operative within you throughout the day and see what you think. Are there really elements or forces operating inside you that Ghazali suggests? One way to know this or to think critically about this would be to observe your own experience and see if what Ghazali says matches that experience or not. You could also look to the behavior of others to see if you see the forces that Ghazali has identified as being operative in those people you're observing. All right, so there's so much more to say about this. And if you have any thoughts or questions that you want to share, I'd love to see them in the comments below. In the next video, we're going to consider Ghazali's account of the traits that come from mastering or submitting to the various elements. I'll see you in the next video, Philosophy 301. Dr. K out.